What if a single hug at a concert could destroy your entire career? That's exactly what happened when Astronomer CEO Andy Byron and HR executive Kristin Cabot were caught on the Coldplay Kiss Cam in Boston. 1 second, the crowd was laughing, the band was joking, and the video was going viral. The next, both of their lives and their families were in chaos. But was this really a secret affair, or just a friendship that got blown completely out of control? It was a packed July night in Boston, and Coldplay had the entire stadium singing along. Out of nowhere, the giant kiss cam zoomed in on two unexpected faces: Andy Byron, the CEO of Astronomer, and his company's HR executive, Kristin Cabot. At first, the crowd wasn't even sure what they were seeing. Then came the playful nudge from Chris Martin himself, who laughed and called out, "Whoa, look at these two." Suddenly, all eyes were on them. The camera lingered as Andy leaned in for what looked like an intimate embrace, and Kristen wrapped her arms around him. It was supposed to be a harmless concert gimmick, but in seconds, the moment turned awkward. Andy realized he was being broadcast to tens of thousands of fans, and who knows how many phones recording it all. He muttered, "Fucking hell, it's me," before ducking out of the frame while Kristen buried her face in embarrassment. Chris Martin kept the crowd laughing with the cheeky line, "Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy." The audience erupted. Clips spread instantly online, and within hours, the kiss cam moment had gone viral. What looked like a quick laugh for concertgoers was about to set off a chain reaction that would flip two families, two careers, and an entire company upside down. The viral clip didn't stay a funny concert moment for long. Within hours, it had reached Astronomer's board of directors, and that's when things took a serious turn. Both Andy Byron and Kristin Cabot weren't just random concert goers. They were high-ranking executives at the same company, and they were both technically married at the time. Suddenly, what the public saw as a harmless hug was being treated as a possible scandal. Astronomer's leadership moved quickly, launching an internal investigation. For a tech company that prides itself on professionalism, the image of a CEO and his HR chief getting cozy on a kiss cam was a PR nightmare. Andy didn't even wait for the results. The very next day, he resigned as CEO. Kristen followed less than a week later. On paper, the reason was clear: the appearance of impropriety and a potential violation of workplace boundaries. But online, the speculation was anything but simple. Were they just friends caught in an awkward moment? Or had the kiss cam exposed something deeper, a relationship the company wanted to bury? Whatever the truth was, the fallout was immediate. Careers that had taken years to build were wiped out almost overnight, and the internet wasn't done with them yet. If losing their jobs wasn't enough, the internet came crashing down even harder. Almost overnight, Kristin Cabot was branded with the label she couldn't shake: the homewrecker. Strangers who knew nothing about her life filled in their own storylines, and none of them were kind. Social media feeds lit up with clips of the kiss cam moment, each one captioned with speculation and judgment. People dissected the way Andy leaned in, the way Kristen hugged him back, even the way she laughed when the camera caught them. Every frame was treated like evidence in a trial, and the verdict: guilty. But the cruelty didn't stop at gossip. According to a source close to Kristen, she received nearly 900 death threats on her phone. 900 messages from strangers telling her she had ruined families, destroyed a company, and deserved to suffer for it. Behind the headlines were real families suddenly caught in a storm they never asked for. Kristen's kids couldn't escape the whispers at school. Friends and neighbors who once smiled now looked the other way. The internet had taken a private moment and turned it into a global stage for humiliation. And while the world pointed fingers, there was one part of the story almost no one knew. Kristin's marriage had already been over long before that concert. As the internet ripped Kristin apart, a crucial piece of the puzzle wasn't getting the same attention. Her marriage to Andrew Cabot, the CEO of Privateer Room, had already come to an end before that Coldplay concert ever happened. Earlier this month, Andrew finally broke his silence. He revealed that he and Kristin had been privately and amicably separated for weeks before the kiss cam moment went viral. In fact, divorce papers were filed in mid-August, just weeks after the show. And here's the part that almost no one was talking about. Andrew himself was at that exact same Coldplay concert, not with Kristin, but on a date of his own. While Kristin was being shamed online as a homewrecker, her estranged husband was moving on with his life, right there in the same stadium. A source close to Kristin doubled down on Andrew's statement, insisting that the couple had been living apart for some time and were already heading toward divorce. That same source also emphasized that Kristin and Andy hadn't even gone to the show as a couple. They were part of a larger group of friends. The hug that set the internet ablaze wasn't proof of an affair. It was a split second of poor judgment, blown wildly out of proportion. But by the time this truth came out, the damage had already been done. The internet had written its story, and for Kristin, changing that narrative felt impossible. And while her side of the story was slowly emerging, people began turning their eyes toward Andy Byron, and the cracks in his marriage were starting to show too. While Kristin's personal life was being dissected online, attention quickly shifted to Andy Byron, the other half of that viral embrace. At the time of the concert, Andy was married to Megan Kerrigan, and unlike Kristin, his marriage hadn't been publicly confirmed as over. The reaction from Megan was immediate. Within hours of the story breaking, she removed Andy's last name from her Facebook profile. Not long after, she deleted her account altogether. According to reports, she packed up and fled their Massachusetts home, retreating to a house in Maine where she held what insiders described as crisis talks about what to do next. To the outside world, that sudden disappearance spoke volumes. People assumed the worst, that the kiss cam moment had exposed an affair and that Andy's marriage was collapsing in real time. But here's the complicated part. Unlike Kristin, Andy never made a public statement about where things stood with his wife. No confirmations, no denials, just silence. And in that silence, speculation grew louder. For some, Andy was the powerful CEO who had crossed a professional line with his direct report. For others, he was just a husband who got caught being too friendly in public. But regardless of the version people believed, the end result was the same. His career was gone, his marriage was under fire, and his reputation was unraveling. And yet the bigger question lingered. If both Kristin and Andy were already facing personal struggles in their marriages, why did a single hug ignite such an explosive downfall? When you strip away the rumors and the internet drama, what actually happened that night? Two colleagues, both executives, shared a hug on a kiss cam at a concert. Was it inappropriate? Sure. Was it embarrassing? Absolutely. But was it really the kind of moment that should end two careers and wreck multiple families? That's the debate that took off once the dust settled. Some people argue that leaders of a company have to live by higher standards, that even the appearance of crossing a line can destroy trust inside an organization. Others saw it differently. They believe this was a textbook example of cancel culture, where a viral clip turns into a firing squad, no matter the context. For Kristin, the label of homewrecker became a scarlet letter, even though she and her husband were already separated. For Andy, silence about his marriage fueled speculation, leaving the worst assumptions to spread unchecked. And that's the danger of internet outrage. It rarely cares about facts. A single video clip becomes the story, and the people inside that clip lose control of their own narrative. Careers, reputations, and families are left to burn while the world moves on to the next scandal. At the heart of it all is a bigger question. When private lives collide with public perception, where should the line be drawn? Should one awkward moment at a concert have the power to erase years of work and destroy families? Because what happened next shows just how high the human cost can be when the internet decides to pile on. Behind the viral jokes, the gossip, and the headlines, there were real people living through the fallout, and their lives were anything but funny. For Kristin, the aftermath was brutal. Friends say she struggled to even leave the house. Every time she stepped outside, she felt the weight of strangers' judgment. And it wasn't just her who suffered. Her children were suddenly living under the shadow of a story they had no part in, forced to watch their mother become a punchline online. Sources close to her describe it as devastating. Not just a lost job, but the collapse of her reputation, her privacy, and her sense of safety. Those 900 death threats weren't just empty words on a screen. They were chilling reminders that the internet's outrage had spilled into real life. Andy's family wasn't spared either. His wife Megan vanished from social media, retreating to Maine while the couple's future remained uncertain. Their private struggles became a public guessing game, with every silence or absence fueling even more speculation. And that's the part most people never see when scandals like this go viral. Behind the clicks, the memes, and the gossip are families in crisis, children confused and scared, spouses blindsided, careers erased in an instant. One source close to Kristin put it bluntly. These are real people with real families, and the enjoyment people have taken at their expense has been unfathomable. The story had started as a joke on a big screen, but for the people living it, the cost was lasting, painful, and deeply unfair. What began as a lighthearted moment on a concert kiss cam spiraled into something no one could have predicted. 2 careers destroyed, 2 families torn apart, and reputations rewritten overnight. For some, it was proof of poor judgment from powerful executives. For others, it was nothing more than a viral clip that got twisted into a scandal far bigger than the truth. But either way, the outcome was the same. Real people left picking up the pieces while the internet moved on to the next headline. And that's the unsettling part. If a single hug on camera can unravel years of hard work, shatter families, and trigger thousands of strangers to send threats, then what does that say about the world we live in? Because at the end of the day, this wasn't just about Andy Byron or Kristin Cabot. It was about the speed at which outrage spreads, the way rumors become truth, and how quickly a private mistake can turn into a public execution. So the real question is this: was this downfall deserved? Or was it a reminder of just how dangerous it is when the internet becomes judge, jury, and executioner?